Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org, and this is a video tutorial for the new Boston. Now, we've already looked at GD. You may have watched the introduction video, how to convert your text and place it into an image. But this time what we're going to be doing is creating a really useful piece of code, and this is going to be contained within Index.php. And what this is going to do is it's going to read in an image from our browser URL. So let's just go over to our browser. You'll have something like image equals, and then in this case we're going to say phone.jpg, because what I have here is a file called phone.jpg, which I want to scale down to a specific thumbnail size. Now you may think, oh, you know, resizing an image might be easy, but what we need to think about is first of all, we need to think about the aspect ratio and maintaining the aspect ratio. And by this, I mean that when we scale it down, we don't want to set a predefined width and a predefined height for our image. Let's say we had a really long but short in height wise image. If we predefine this to a specific height, say 100 by 100 characters, we're actually going to skew our image so much it might look a bit odd. So what we want to do is we want to resize an image to a thumbnail acceptable size, and you can play around with these properties in the code. Once we start writing them, you'll see which values you can change and which you probably can't. And our image will be scaled down to this size, and every image will end up at roughly the same size. So you're going to have a thumbnail size image, and because you can use oh no, let's not open our code just yet. Because you can, let's go back, do something like image equals phone.jpg. It means that when you're doing say file uploads, say you're uploading files, what you can actually do in the process of uploading your file is call this, and it will generate a thumbnail for you. So it's really useful when you're doing file uploads and you want to keep an original copy and you want to keep a thumbnail copy of an image. So what we're not going to be doing in this tutorial is overwriting phone.jpg with a smaller image. We're going to be creating a new file with a scaled down, and we're maintaining the aspect ratio, and that's going to be phone.jpg.thumbnail.jpg, because we're going to use the file name just in case we need to check on things later. So we're going to give it a nice file name as well, not nice looking, but so we know exactly what file we're dealing with, and we know that it's a thumbnail file. So let's go ahead and start writing out our code. Now, what's the first thing we need to think about in GD, the GD library, when we create our document? And what we need to do is we need to think about setting our header type. We can do this to preview it. I mean, what we're going to be doing in the end is saving this file, so we don't necessarily need to change the content type, I don't think, but we'll do this anyway. So we use the header function that you may have come across before, and inside here I'm going to say content type, and I'm going to do a colon. So I've got content type, the hyphen in the middle, and now I'm going to say image/JPEG. And what this is going to do, it's going to change the content type of the page to a JPEG image, because we're going to be reading in a JPEG image, and we're going to be creating an image, a JPEG image, as the scaled down version. So we're not dealing with any other file formats except for JPEG in this example. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to check for the input. So we need to check that a user has supplied an argument to our URL. So using this get variable, we need to say if is set $_get image, then complete the rest of our code. So inside here is going to be the rest of our code. If we haven't supplied an image in here, and by here I mean in around here, so image equals phone.jpg, this value here would equal phone.jpg, then there's no need to run the rest of our code, because we can't create a thumbnail from an image that we haven't already specified. So let's create a new variable called image, and let's set this to the get variable. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can use this image variable later on in the program, in the code, sorry, and reference it a lot easier. Okay, so there's a few things we need to do now, and that is first of all get the size of the image. And when we use the getImageSize function, we actually create an array of the sizes, the dimensions of the image. So it sounds probably complicated, but let's go ahead and do it, and you can see that it's not at all. So I'm going to create a new variable called ImageSize, and this is going to equal the getImageSize function, so getImageSize. So now what we're already doing is we're creating ImageSize variable, which is here, and this is going to be an array. We're going to be focusing on element 0 and 1 in the array, which is going to be the width and the height. So underneath this, we're going to create some more variables with the actual width and height of the image. So we just supply this with an argument image, because this is the image that we've already picked up. So let's go ahead and comment out this header part, and I'm going to write the code to get the image width and the height, and then we're going to test that this is working. So I'm going to say image width, and this is going to be equal to image_size, then in brackets. So remember, image size is an array, so now we're taking an element of an array, and I want element 0. This is going to return the width of the image. Now we can go ahead and do the height. So image height equals image size, and then we have 1 this time, because instead of 0 being width, 1 is height. So let's go ahead and echo both these values out. Let's just append a break onto the end of this line, so everything looks okay. So let's come back to our page. So what's going to happen now is we're going to read in phone.jpg as this image variable here, which we've already checked for and then preset. So now what we're doing is we're grabbing the image size from the file that we've specified. So let's go ahead and press enter and see if it works. Okay, so my image is 730 by 410. Let's just take a look at the image itself. We're not going to obviously measure it ourselves, but we can just double check that it's about that. So at the full size scale version, I would say, yeah, this is about the dimensions that we've already returned, so 730